Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. The NBA Finals have been terrific thus far between the Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat. Denver is up 2-1 entering Game 4 this evening in Miami. I'm excited to see what happens and some adjustments, but thus far in the series, the Nuggets have shown statistical dominance. A 119.7 offensive rating, 56.4 effective field goal percentage, 60% true shooting, 12% turnover. They're dominating the glass, and they're doing a good job finding each other. In terms of the Heat, they're not as potent offensively. They're not shooting as well, but they're forcing turnovers, not turning it over themselves, and they could rebound better. This series has a lot of layers on both sides, but we're going to dive into the zone aspect and layer of this series, starting with the Miami Heat side of things and how they have been successful in using the zone. The Miami Heat zone has been a major part of their success throughout the entirety of the playoffs, but in terms of the Denver Nuggets, they've had success at just pressuring the ball and slowing down their offensive flow, putting multiple bodies on Jamal, multiple bodies on Jokic at a time, just trying to prevent them from being in their flow, their two-man game, just getting into quick-paced offense that they like to do. And the full-court pressure in the 2-2-1 press back to the zone has done a terrific job at jamming them up and forcing them to play a murky, muddy game in the half court, which has been good for the Heat. Whenever the game slows down, there's fewer possessions. They're forcing Denver to work in the mud, work through things in the half court. It's been a big part of their success. They're forcing turnovers, and the ball pressure in general has been a major part of their success in using the zone. They're flying around. They're staying connected to the ball. They're doing a really good job of getting up into the ball individually. Duncan Robinson does a great job there against Jeff Green. And overall, this is producing high-quality defensive possessions for the Heat. Yes, there are some things that they need to clean up, which we'll talk about in the Denver half of this video. But in general, you can see that they're forcing Denver to think, slow down, operate in the half court, get things a little bit murkier than they like, and it's forcing tough shots. They're shooting a lot of tough twos throughout these possessions. They're shooting out of rhythm threes. It's just a lot of good things that the zone has produced, and it's all because of the ball pressure at the point of attack. Always staying connected, always having a guy there up in the grill, following the Miami Heat man principles in terms of applying pressure, being a force at the point of attack, and just slowing them down from there and allowing everyone else behind that individual defender at the ball to follow suit, be active in the gaps, be in position to make a play happen, and just slow down the potent offense of the Denver Nuggets. This clip here does a terrific job by Gabe Vincent at showing the ball pressure. They're wanting to jam the Nuggets early, make them have to work in the half court, and not allow them to get out and run in transition. The Nuggets have found success, especially in Game 3, getting up and down the floor, playing on the break, and just making things happen from there. But I think the way that they can jam early, like Highsmith here, and make them have to play in the half court against this zone that's shape-shifting, that's just all over the place, an amoeba-style 2-3, I just think at the end of the day that this zone will be a huge part of Miami's success the rest of the way. To talk a little bit more about the schematic side of things of the zone, they like the tandem at the top. First guy to be high, pressuring the ball. Second guy is sitting back at the foul line, which is an adjustment from their previous round against the Boston Celtics. It looks more like a 1-3-1, when in reality it's a 2-3 with a tandem top. The tandem at the top is responsible for the ball and then denying the foul line or fronting Jokic at the foul line to not allow him to get easy touches there. And it's making them have to operate differently, which we'll talk about next with the Denver part. But overall, that tandem at the top is the biggest adjustment. And then from there, Miami's doing a really good job at forcing them to shoot threes almost. They're packing it in a little bit more on the wings rather than being so high and wide. Yes, they're still bumping the ball on wing touches, but overall, the way that they're out there and then collapsing immediately, trying to prevent easy shot opportunities from the perimeter. Now to talk about the Denver Nuggets and how they have attacked the zone throughout this series and adjustments that they've made to be more successful over time. First, I want to talk about a set that Mike Malone has drawn up, the double screen on the outside of the zone that has produced pretty quality offense in both Game 2 and Game 3. We're going to dive more into the Game 3 clip of it first. The action is initiated with a DHO here. Jamal Murray hands off with Christian Braun, and then we'll get an exchange with the trail in the wing, and then it'll flow into a ball screen. Here it'll be Bruce Brown and Aaron Gordon, and then Jeff Green on that exchange is going to flip and screen the outside part of the zone and produces a high-quality shot look for Jamal Murray. Just a great example of how they're attacking the zone and shifting their mentality. Next, I think that the biggest thing that they can continue to do against the zone is attack and touch paint. Driving against the zone, playing off of penetration is a big reason that they've had some success against the zone. Touching paint, playing off of each other, forcing the defense to collapse and shrink in even more than they have been throughout the series will just produce great shot opportunities. And if they don't shrink in, Jamal Murray has been on a tear and will continue to play great off of these paint touches, attacking, getting to his pull-up, getting to his floater. Nextly, we got to talk about how these paint touches have been able to produce looks for Jokic off of the ball. Christian Braun did a great job in Game 3 at driving and finding Jokic behind him. The defense is collapsing on the drive. Jokic is filling in behind him and getting great shot opportunities off of that. Another way that they can attack is through their two-man game. It's been tough for them to get to it, but in this example here, you'll see Jokic comes up and sets the ball screen, and you have 4 defenders on the strong side of the floor. This will create an opportunity for them to swing it like they do here across the floor and get a pretty good shot opportunity by Aaron Gordon. But another thing that they can continue to look for is to flow into their two-man game and get more ball screens for Jamal Murray with Jokic as the primary screen setter, just causing a lot of gravity toward the ball. Nextly, in terms of where they can attack, earlier in the series, especially in Game 1, they were trying to really force the ball in the middle to the foul line area. They had some success there, but toward the second half, Miami adjusted. They were doing that tandem thing we talked about, denying those foul line touches, and it kind of went away for them. And it caused some stagnation, especially through Game 2, where Miami was able to capitalize and get the win. Next, though, a thing that they found in Game 1 was that gray area on the porch where it's not necessarily a foul line touch, not necessarily a low porch touch, but here we'll see Christian Braun get that touch in this gray area of the floor, and it causes the defense to collapse, and they get a great look from Michael Porter Jr. The next clip, we'll see another gray area touch for them by Jokic. Jokic cuts from the foul line to that gray area, gets the touch, and it just causes them to rotate differently and have different communication. Guys are in different spots, and it's not necessarily a post touch, not necessarily a high post or mid post touch. It's just a weird area of the floor against how Miami orients their zone, and it's produced great shot opportunities throughout the entirety of Game 3. You can see in this clip here with Jeff Green, it's just putting a lot of pressure on one side of the zone because the wing is in a spot where he has to guard 2, the ball gets to that area, and he has to make a decision whether to collapse to the corner or to stay high. It's just a tough decision, putting rotational pressure on the defense. And lastly, offensive rebounding is a great way to beat any zone, and Denver is doing that also. They're getting great second shot opportunities, continuing to use their size and physicality against the smaller Miami Heat, just because they're able to get in there, get good positioning, clean up the glass, and then get great second shot looks, whether it means kicking it out for threes, finishing at the rim, and it's just a way to beat a zone through using your size, physicality advantage that Denver has. These finals have been so fun to watch thus far, with individually great performances on both sides, schematic chess matches between Coach Malone and Coach Spo. It's just been really fun and high quality basketball, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video as we dove into one layer and aspect of this series thus far with the zone both offensively and defensively. So for more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you in the next one.